13 here. I'm going to do a quick life update, although I highly doubt I'm going to upload it. I get people asking me about my marriage and sometimes if I'm happy, and I've made it perfectly clear in a lot of little comments here and there, and some small comments in my videos that I'm not happy. So people ask about it. So I'm going to sum it up as quick as possible, if I can. It's like this. My wife had the baby, and right after she had the baby, she was extremely hardworking. And she took care of the baby and the house and all the laundry you got to do with a new baby and stuff like that. And she did all the housework. And what did I do? Well, I worked, and I didn't help out much, to be honest, in the beginning. Okay, and sometimes I would offer to help out, honest to God, and she would respond with, no, you just rest. You need to be rested for work. I don't want, because the baby would cry all night and stuff, and she wouldn't be able to sleep. When you have a new baby, you don't sleep. Period. These roundabouts are just hell, man. People have no idea. So in the beginning, she was like hardworking and no, husband, you need to work, so you rest and I'll go off to work. Somebody in this car on the left-hand side just hit somebody on this car on the right-hand side. I saw a hand come out and just smack someone. It's kind of funny. And of course, there's a little kid in the front seat, and for some strange reason, there's bigger people in the rear seats, which is stupid beyond belief. My son will not, he won't even know what the front half of a car looks like until he's like 14, 15. At least he's got a seatbelt on, which is a rarity. Anyways, so in the beginning she was hardworking and that was all good. But, it didn't last very long because she started to have like mental breakdowns because she was like, it was too much work for her. Some women handle it just fine, but for her it was too much. So I started taking on more and more responsibility, and it didn't seem to help her mental state much. So I started taking on more and more responsibility, and then I cut back on my work hours, and then I cut back on my YouTube, and I started taking on more and more. And honest to God, for the last 6 months, I take care of my son as much as she does. Like a baby sleeps about 14 hours a day. They sleep about 10 hours a night, and they nap for about 4 hours during the day, so that's 14. So that leaves you with 10 hours that they're awake. And of those 10 hours that he's awake, 5 of them are with me, okay? So that means she's only taking care of my son while he's awake for 5 hours in a 24-hour period. And then, so I take care of him for 5 hours a day, and I go to work for 5-6 hours a day, and then I take care of my internet stuff for another 3-4 hours a day, and then I pretty much have no free time. And then I also do house chores. I also every day I help with the house chores. She still does the majority of them, but if you had to put it into numbers, I'd say I do, I don't know, 30%. She does 70. But I also work, right, 5 hours a day. And let me tell you something. You can do all the household chores in about 2 hours. Everything that needs to be done in a house in a day can be done in 2 hours of steady hard work. So, for those 5 hours that I take care of my son, that's 5 hours where she has absolutely nothing to do, okay, other than eat, because I take care of him from and then he sleeps for 4 hours too. So she's got 9 hours during the day when there's no son to take care of. 9 hours. And somehow in that time she can't do the housework. So I do it for another hour as well each day about. So yeah, I guess if you look at it, well, anyways. So we'll say roughly, I'm being generous here by saying I only do 30%, she does 70. And then and the dogs are my responsibility. She has no problem pointing that out. They're nothing to do with me, they're your responsibility. So I take care of my son for 5 hours, I take care of the dogs totally on my own, etc., etc., etc. And in the beginning, it was like housework and son was like all her. So I take care of. So from the beginning to now, I've added on about 6 hours per day of what she used to do. You know, in the beginning, like, she did all the housework and took care of the kid, because that's what she felt a housewife was supposed to do, and I didn't know any better. I was okay with that, but, you know, it was too much for her, so I started to do some of the household chores, so I took on a couple hours of her work, and that was okay by me, and then that, you know, she's still too tired, still still flipping out all the time, so okay, how about if I take care of our son, when he wakes up until he falls asleep in the afternoon, you know? So that means from like 9 o'clock in the morning until he falls asleep at 1 or 2, and then he sleeps until like 4 or 5. So from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 or 5 in the afternoon, she doesn't even see our son. Doesn't even see him. And then I go to work, and I work until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And then I get off work, and then I come and take care of him for another hour or so she can shower for bed. And I very often just don't shower because I don't have time. Because after he's going to crash into this taxi. Why don't you just pass him on the left, man? Yeah, so long story short, you know, I just keep doing more and more, and she just keeps complaining more and more. And then recently she just turned everything lopsided. The other day, we were arguing, and she's telling me how lazy and selfish I am, and I'm like, look, I take care of. You don't even see our son from from when he wakes up until 4 in the afternoon. You don't even see him once, and you're still complaining that I'm lazy and selfish. I'm like, you're fucked in the head. And she's like, I never told you to take care of him so much. She's like, fine, I'll take care of him in the mornings now. So guess what? We're back to her taking care of him like all day. She just demanded that I don't do it anymore because she hates that I have that to throw in her face when she calls me lazy. So she's taking it away from me. And guess what? She's taking care of him all day for 2 days. And she already had like a mental breakdown today. She was screaming and flipping out. What was she flipping out about? That she was tired and that she was hungry and she didn't have time to eat. And it's like, that's odd, because every single day for the last 6 months when I take care of him during the day, I still figure out a way to eat while I'm taking care of him. The fact that you don't know how to feed yourself isn't really my fault. Anyways, yeah, so it's not looking good. And that's the life update that you didn't want to hear.